We messed up.
We're sorry for how we originally delivered our goodbye message to YouTube.
We regret stating and implying that it's a price that anybody can afford, and we fully acknowledge that it is not.
We went to see Ghost Files.
Oh boy.
And yeah, we weren't expecting to go. We are both Watcher fans. Fred is,
Files.
yeah, Fred's a big Ghost Files fan. I'm a big everything else fan.
Yeah.
Although I do really like Ghost Files, it's just not like the only thing I love. So we were really excited to go. We didn't decide to go until the day of the show.
We got the tickets in the afternoon.
Yeah, we were kind of on the fence about it, but with all the current Watcher drama, it was just really tempting to kind of see them in action.
I want to see
what
those
was
boys
going on.
squirm. I want to see the ghoul boys. I want to see them get all tense and sweaty on stage.
I was just really interested. I wasn't sure if there was going to be some big drama. So we decided to go down, and a lot happened, and I kind of just wanted to share it with like the community at large and tell you what this is like, because this is the first YouTuber, like influencer podcaster show I've ever been to.
And it's probably going to be the last one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think if there was anybody whose show I would go to, it would be Shane and Ryan's. And whether or not this was technically even a show, I think is very much up for debate.
A show, a couple of guys on stage.
Yeah, it was more of an evening with, except it was more like an evening without. I'm gonna give you guys a quick rundown of what the show looked like, so that when we get into detail, you actually know where we're at throughout the night. So the show started at 7 p.m. Fred and I decided to get there early. We wanted to shoot a little content. I've never been early to anything in my life.
It was supposed to start at 7 p.m.
Yeah, so we got there at 6:30. We're in a crazy queue. The queue was going all over the place. We went right past some people's houses.
Snaking through the neighborhood.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, a lot of people showed up, because I was worried, like, what if people didn't come after all the Watcher drama?
A lovely group of people, I must say.
Everyone was very
Good-looking
nice.
crowd.
Queued in the most English way imaginable. So we got there, it got to 7, it got past 7, the doors weren't open yet, and eventually, I think the doors opened like maybe 5 or 10 minutes past. Which, if you've ever been to a London theatre show, is late.
You advertise the curtains. You
Yeah.
didn't advertise when I sit down. No.
So
I was mad.
We eventually got into our seats at about 7:30, I guess. Mm-hmm. They said the show was supposed to start at 7, but it's nearly 8, and it has not yet started. We didn't get in for like 20 minutes. So yeah, not 100% sure. We'll see what the vibes are like. We sit down at 7:30, and the show itself did not begin until 8. A message to Watcher HQ: you are not Lauren Hill. It's for the best though. There's only 2 toilets, so I bet you we only just got to the end of the queue. All I can tell you is that people back in the day did not piss.
Immediately got myself 2 ciders.
Yeah, we had
Not
a
even
cider.
kidding.
No, it was nice. It was really good.
Good cider.
It was lovely cider, actually. So if there's one positive thing I can say about the venue, the cider was really good. The show didn't start till 8, which I thought was a bit weird, because the show is advertised to be from 7 until 11. Obviously, we've already lost an hour of content. Mm-hmm. Great. So the show begins, and by show, I mean you can hear Ryan on like the PA system saying, hey everybody, welcome to the show, and then there is a short sort of unique clip of them being like, London, we're in London, London, so haunted and spooky.
Considering they were just like mere feet away, I was kind of surprised.
You just come out and say it.
Yeah.
You just, go, we're in London. Way.
Not
Anyway,
really sure why that needed to be filmed.
so it was definitely a strange vibe to start, and then on comes the episode.
While you're up there, see if nighttime.
The episode was just described as like a favorite episode.
Mm-hmm.
I personally didn't realize it was going to be an old one.
Neither
So-
did I.
And I did get that impression from the rest of the audience.
People were
sat
confused.
there, and I think we were expecting, if we're going to open without having seen Ryan and Shane, an hour late, that at least you're going to see like a new episode, or some new footage, or some behind the scenes, or something. But no, what we got was the Hull House episode.
Yeah,
Hull
the
House
Devil
Museum.
Baby. I got no problem watching an old episode. I just didn't think I was going to be sitting there watching something I'd already seen with a worse watching experience.
Yeah, it's just on a projector.
I assumed when they said they were going to present a new their favorite episode, they would be presenting.
We watched the whole House episode. At which point the lights come up. You know, people have laughed, whatever, it's fine.
We've laughed, we've cried.
Fred tells me, yeah, that was an episode from 2022. I was like, we are at the intermission. The show's only been on for 45 minutes. So, yeah, all we did was watch a YouTube video, which I didn't remember because I've watched the Ghost Files. I've watched pretty much, I think I've watched all the Ghost Files, but not like obsessively, whereas like I enjoy the other content more, and I think Fred enjoys the ghosts more. So Fred immediately recognized it, and he nearly fell asleep halfway through, and I was like, oh, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, I've seen this one twice. And I was like, what? Yeah, it's not new, or even from the newest season. It's an episode from 2022, which, in my opinion, is a bit wild. I don't know. A bit weird.
Emily had to nudge me awake a couple of times.
Well, that was when I kind of got the vibe that something was not right. Was I looked over at Fred and he was just sitting there like this, and I was like, "You okay?" Like,
That's resting.
I was like, "Have you got a migraine or something?" And he was like, "Oh no, I just know this one really well." What?
I heard more than a few people utter the phrase WTF.
Yeah, no, it was a strange feeling.
Yes.
It was a strange experience, kind of sitting there and just being like, oh, okay, right. So by the time we got to 9, bear in mind the show started at 7, and there's
Scheduled to start at 7.
There's 2 more hours of showtime left. That is when Ryan and Shane finally come on stage.
Walk on stage and piss myself.
Gigantic hole in your crotch.
I know you were nervous. Okay.
Special
All right.
I don't think this could have gone on to a better start. Do you?
Get it together, man. Oh. That's not going to help. Okay. Hi, everyone. Great to see you. Oh. All right.
Gross. All right. Well, along with your wet pants, London's been a little wet while we've been here. But how have you guys been liking it so far?
Oh.
There's been
Sorry, I was just digesting that sentence. It's been great. It's been really fun out here.
They did a little Q&A with the producer, which was a
Interesting.
bit random, but fine. It was
Really
like, oh, why
felt
did you
like
pick that episode? And I was like, I mean, I guess because it's their favorite.
Yeah.
You know? They ate some Greg's.
So excited right now. I've eaten so many beans in the past 24 hours. And I love beans. But I woke up this morning, I had a big English breakfast, ate so many beans, bacon. You guys really know what you're doing here.
This microphone is greasy as shit. Just listen to the beautiful crinkle of this bag. Everyone knows that when you hear this sound, something amazing is about. This is gonna be so good. Shane, may I dive in?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is that one?
Do you guys want me to put my mouth near the microphone? Do you want to hear the mouth chewing, or would you be like, I'd rather you not? Yes. I don't know what that means, but let's do it.
Conflicting response here.
That wasn't crunchy at all.
What do you eat? Which
That's pretty fucking good.
like a beef gusher.
A beef gusher, yeah.
Oh, there's cheese inside of it.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, you might have the sausage, bean, and cheese melt. This might be the steak.
I'm detecting that. This is the sausage, bean, and
One
cheese.
scene.
That's the steak, babe.
There you go. Eat that one too. Come on. Yeah, baby. Steak?
Oh, that went really
Okay.
fucking good.
That was really good. Yeah, we're gonna crunch all over the stage. Well,
Hey, you got some questions for
Oh,
us?
this is really good.
I do indeed. While you guys are
They did a bit of Too Many Spirits.
Too Many
with-
Spirits is fire.
Bring your spooky stories.
And, we're not really doing an episode tonight, but we are going to be doing this live on stage for the first time on the road here.
These are stories that were submitted by you. So, we'll see what you got.
Thank you for putting your hands directly in my face.
All of you.
Well, it was exciting for them to announce it. They read 2 stories from people in the audience, or maybe 3, I could be lying, and they drank 1 singular can of Jack and Coke, and then they did a little
Which
bit
they'd
of...
never had before.
Yeah, they were
Ryan,
shocked.
he was very into his Jack and Coke. I feel like the drinking game in the UK is gonna have an effect on Too Many Spirits in the future.
I hope so. there was a bit of live ghost hunting where Shane put the earphones on and then says words out loud, and that was entertaining. That was pretty funny.
That was good.
Lasted like, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
Then the audience Q&A happened, which I'm not saying anything in particular, but it did feel like maybe they were trying to keep that, although that was like the other advertised part, they were trying to keep that as short as possible.
I mean,
They
wouldn't
only
you?
answered, what, like 4 questions?
They were taking their time with the questions. They were elaborating extensively. And I really feel like they were trying to mitigate as much as possible. And honestly, after the weekend they had, I don't blame them one bit. Oh, I would have killed them if something happened. I think they actually would have like jumped off the stage.
Yeah.
If someone said $6.
Yeah. Yeah. So they then showed a portion of one of the episodes from season 3 of Ghost Files, and then they were like, we'll come back. And so it ended, and then they just came on and said, thank you, London, and just walked off and left. And that was the end of the
Arrivederci,
show.
ciao, buenos noches.
So
Goodbye.
I took some notes of what they actually talked about.
Sure.
Things that may or may not be important.
It's going to be like a bit of a half review, half sort of rundown of how the show went and whether you maybe want to go to watch a show in the future.
Yeah. So Shane came on, said he'd been eaten by bed bugs. That was unfortunate.
Sad.
They ate Greg's. It was cold.
How was Greg's after the time window of about an hour? It's getting pretty dicey. Did you say sad? Because I know McDonald's has a shelf life of about 5 minutes.
They explained why they did the old episode. Ryan,
They like the Gregs.
I think, was in his feelings a bit because he was like talking about how he cried at Paddington. He'd seen a Paddington Bear statue and was like crying. Ryan wants to go to Japan to ghost hunt again in the future.
Because he is half Japanese, half
Yes.
Mexican, and honestly, if England has ghosts, Japan's got just as many.
Exactly. Shane doesn't want to go to Germany because he doesn't want to speak to German ghosts.
Fair.
They are excited to be traveling. This season has a heart rate monitor. Ryan regrets doing the chill Ryan bit when they did the prison ghost files, and he was freaking out. They read some stories from the crowd. I thought it was a bit weird because they read the scary stories. They did the Too Many Spirits bit from the crowd. And they were like getting people to stand up and say if it was their story, but they didn't like give them anything.
So yeah, people were standing up, and they were like, "Could you please stand up?" They, the audience turns around, you find the person standing up, everyone cheers and claps, and then they're like, "Sit down. You're done now. We're done with you now." They'd read the story. The stories were a little bit more purple than I guess they used to on the usual Too Many Spirits. A little bit less jank, a little bit more. You can't really like make fun of someone too much when they're sitting there right in front of you, right? And there were a few stories, I think, that were a little bit sort of like, and then I levitated, and then the ghost came to me, and he said, "You riddle me this question 3." And Shane had to be extra nice.
Yeah,
Shane was
yeah.
like, "I believe you." And I had to leave it at that.
They said that they thought the Goatman episode was actually a flop when they filmed it. Shane wants to go back to Doll Island. Everybody else doesn't.
Well, this was during the Q&A. So someone said, "Where would you like to go back to?" And Doll Island, whilst maybe Shane's favorite, Ryan was no bueno, didn't like it.
Yeah, Ryan was telling a story about how when they messed with the demon, his girlfriend at the time started sleepwalking.
Yeah.
Again, hella demonic.
This
which
was
is kinda
actually
crazy.
coming from from him, like directly. I was a bit like, this is kind of spooky. This is kind of a bit too intense.
And then they showed the 20 minutes of the new episode, and that was that. We've got some footage and some clips. We can include some here if they are relevant.
Not of the new
So-
show. They asked us not to film anything. We already took the piss a little bit, but we didn't record any of the new stuff.
I will say as well, what I thought was kind of crazy was they were like, don't record this episode about the Hull House episode. So when I was like, have I seen this before? I was like, well, obviously I haven't because they told me not to record it. It's been on YouTube for 2 years.
It's an old episode.
Yeah, it was weird. I would say of the new episode, what we saw, it was good. I really liked it. I think if you're excited for season 3, you should be. The vibes in the video were great. They were having a ton of fun. And it kind of made me feel a bit like, oh man, they probably filmed this when they still thought that this was all going to just be on their own streaming service.
Yep.
I kind of got the vibe that while the energy was very off in the show, and we'll like go into the vibes in a minute.
Sure.
But while the energy was off in the show, I kind of got the vibe that like when they were recording, they were really thinking like, this is going to be for our
They were
platform.
making it into a big deal. They were like, we need to make a bit. We need to hit him with the razzle dazzle. We need to basically make a big splash because this is our TV production, TV level. WatcherTV.com. $6 a month bonanza.
They were really enjoying it. They were having a lot of fun. They were really freaking each other out. They had added some extra bits. So they added a thing where they're like, give each other like pre-written challenges, which I thought was fun. It added a bit of structure to, you know, the 20 minutes walking around portion.
did.
I felt like in terms of the quality of the episode, it was really good, and they should have started with it. People, if they had opened
Yeah.
with that, people would have been so hyped.
Would have been amazing.
As it went, because they showed that right at the end, people were having to leave for their train. And bear in mind that the first 2 hours, there was no content like that was new at all. I felt really bad. Like, I took the day off the stream to go.
Yeah. We stopped doing work. We have a Twitch stream. It's our daily job. And we took it off to go to do some research for you guys. You're welcome. And it felt really weird. They kept on teasing the trailer the entire way through. They were not answering questions. They were dodging certain subjects because they didn't want to spoil anything for later on. And honestly, it was nonsense. There was no reason to do any of that. If they had just played the preview at the very beginning,
And then discuss that. The Q&A would have really focused on that as
the
well.
mood would have been high.
Yeah.
They could just cut the show by an hour. Get rid of the replay. You didn't present it.
No, that was the thing. So next, I want to talk about the vibes.
Yep.
Which, in my opinion, they did their best. The vibes were off.
The vibes were off. Everyone, I think majority of people will say they had a good time.
Yeah.
Ryan and Shane are nothing but a good time, right?
Yeah.
You can't help but love these guys. They may have made a mistake with their pricing, but the
They
Ghoul
were very
Boys,
charismatic, and they were definitely
they're
trying.
beloved.
Yeah, they were definitely trying their best. Like, I did not feel as though when they were on stage, they were not trying to make it a good time. And they really did throw themselves in, especially with the bit of ghost hunting they did.
Yep.
I think they could have included more of that. I think people would have loved it. I think that they
get
could.
the Ovulus involved.
Yeah.
Get some more ghost hunting stuff involved.
I think more actual live would have been great.
You're telling me the O2 Shepherd's Bush Arena doesn't have ghosts?
Personally, I couldn't imagine like a worse time than going on stage after all this stuff has gone down, with all of the added stress, being away from home, having bed bugs bite you.
But I feel like most people loved them enough that they would walk away from that show with a positive opinion. Unfortunately, it's a matter of the vibes weren't all the way there, and also the show was structured in a way that really left it lacking.
Parts that we liked,
I liked it when I saw them.
that was good. That was fun.
When they came out on stage in the second half. I did like that. I liked the fact that I went to see Ryan and Shane live, and I actually got to see Ryan and Shane live. It was, they teased it out for a long time. They're entertaining. They're just naturally just gifted like that. I love their segments. 2 Minute Spirits live, clever. Little bit of a not seancing, but like with the headphones, very funny. A little bit awkward, but fine.
I think that when they actually engaged with the audience, it was way more fun. Like, the audience were really there to try and give them good energy.
Yes.
And people were like shouting things down and being really fun with it. And I think they were really nervous because I think they were waiting for somebody to say something,
To ruin the night.
and that kind of hanging over them, I think, made it harder. I definitely felt the $6 floating in the air. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there were definitely times where people would say things, they'd be like, and then it would be funny and it would be fine.
There was a certain tension during the Q&A. Every time a new person stepped up to the microphone, it was sort of like...
Maybe they could have had somebody else to speak to people first and go, oh, what's your question? And get everyone to line up. Because they said, hey, have you got any questions? And obviously, it's advertised as a Q&A. So there were quite a few people who got up to ask questions. And they answered like 4 or 5. They answered, let me try and see if I can remember off the top of my head. They answered, where would you like to go back to? Why did you go to so many prisons? Have you ever been injured? Where would you like to go in the future, like other countries?
And then a medium asked them if they've ever sensed any
If they've ever felt any vibes.
hot or cold spots or
Yeah.
vibes. They said most of the places they go to are either boiling hot or freezing cold, so it doesn't really make a difference to them.
Yeah.
So
So that was it. And I would say, as something that was
Unfortunate.
advertised as a Q&A, I would say it was pretty light on the Q&A. I kind of understood why, but I also feel like if people have paid a lot of money to be there, and they had like £65 a ticket, and a lot of people in stalls did have questions to ask, and they just weren't given that opportunity. You know, a lot of people have been paid all that money to like get in the queue to stand there to just be like fobbed off. And I felt like certain other things could have been cut short. I don't think we needed the questions necessarily with the producer, although I guess that may have helped them warm up on stage. But I feel like they could have had a few little like jokes, you know, done the let's start with trying the Greg stuff, because they were kind of eating the Gregs as a bit, but then they weren't. They were immediately going into questions from the producer, so they're just like spraying dry cold steak bake, you know what I mean? And I could feel that, because I know how it is when you eat something and then you need to talk and you're like there was also another bit that kind of felt a little awkward, which was at one point Shane was saying, oh my god, if you rewatch the original BuzzFeed Unsolved, we don't really do anything, right? Like, we just go to places and they're like, this is scary, and run away. And I was like, that's what we've all been saying. Like, the entire community has been like, you don't need to spend all your money on this stuff. It's just fun watching you guys run around and be scared and be interested and look at things. Yes, the structure is obviously going to make shooting an episode easier, but we don't need all of the stuff. And when he said that...
And that doesn't cost a ton of money.
No.
Coming up with the idea of answering, like doing quests, doing missions, that stuff is free. And you got super successful with basic stuff.
And that's kind of what it really just made me go like, oh man, that's exactly what people have been saying in all the comments. And I think that felt a bit awkward, because I was like, so what things do you think could have been improved?
A lot.
Yeah.
The price needs to come down.
Yeah.
The first half needs to disappear.
Yeah.
As far as I know, in America, the Watcher shows, they got a full brand new unaired episode.
Yeah, this is we obviously weren't there. This was according to the Watcher subreddit.
Yes, this is all hearsay. I don't know if it's true. Please correct me in the comments if it's not true. But as far as I know, as far as I read, that if you went to one of the American shows, you got a brand new unaired episode, never before seen, and you got to watch the entire thing. In the UK, for some reason, we get a 2022 episode. One of the more popular ones, so everyone's seen it already. Not even like a niche one. And we don't see the guys until the second half.
No.
I would like to see Ryan and Shane.
I think it could have been improved, and Fred was saying this when we were talking about it earlier. If they had shown either a cut down version of the goat episode, not the goat episode, the demon baby episode, and they had then been on stage and presented it, right? Gone like, even if it were completely scripted, right? They'd go like, pause, oh my gosh, in this bit, you won't believe this happened, or like, oh, that was crazy, or oh, we never got to the bottom of what that sound was.
They had so many stories about little niche things that happened during the shows. Shane getting food poisoning from eating a couple of spicy hot dogs. Ryan, his girlfriend, got possessed at home. She was spinning around in circles on the bed. Loads of little stories like that where they basically stuff you don't really find out unless you were there.
And that's the stuff that like the diehard community members care about. The people who were there were like Watcher fans, you know? They're paying £65 a head. It on a weekday, you know, it really would have made more sense to, I think, have more audience participation.
Yeah.
Those bits really brought the energy up. I think it made them feel like appreciated. Take more questions, tell more stories, treat it a bit like an evening with, right? Where if you're not going to do a live ghost hunting show, at very least have, hey, here's some behind the scenes, here's some unshown footage, here are some fun bloopers, like anything to add value to rewatching that episode. Or come on stage and actually present the episode, or show the new content up front and then discuss it, get everybody hyped for it, come out on stage after that first 20 minutes and go, hey, who's got questions about the new series, and go from there, you know?
Yeah, so it was £65 a ticket. There's obviously resale. There are other tickets going for £88. There are other, I'm sure if you wanted to get a front row seat and possibly make eye contact with the Ghoul Boys, you're probably paying like £100. For reference, £65, which is what we paid, is $80. And I feel like...
And it felt like an unprepared show.
It felt phoned in.
Yeah.
It felt just a little tiny cash grabby. and I still love the guys. I feel like it just needed more preparation. It definitely felt like an afterthought.
As a streamer, I definitely know sometimes when we'll have a big stream, I'll try and plan out segments and things in advance, and this felt a bit more like a stream where you don't do that. Where you're like, okay, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to do?
Yep.
Obviously, they had planned it a bit, but like calling it even Ghost Files Live was a reach.
Yeah.
It was more like a short-ish panel with Shane O'Brien. It was more like a sneak peek of a new episode. It wasn't a live show. It wasn't really a performance. It was an
evening with.
Yeah, sometimes. And it
The
I
elevated
feel
meet
like
and greet.
we should have been informed that you could come from 9.
A lot of people didn't even realize they were going to show an old episode. We didn't realize they were going to show an old episode, but then we bought resale tickets and we kind of went last minute, so we didn't read the stuff very clearly.
Yeah.
So I was pretty mad. I was pretty furious. I was like, yo, if I had known, I would have just skipped this. I would have just come later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
unfortunately.
vibe was definitely off at the end. I will say when it ended, even after the new episode, people kind of just got up and walked out. There was some applause for them, not a ton. Even after the episode, they were like, oh, we're going to come back after. And they basically just came on and went, thanks, London, and then walked off.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I definitely got the impression that people thought it was expensive. We talked to a few people around us. Everyone was kind of like, yeah.
I don't think anyone
You know?
I feel like very few people realized there was going to be an old 2-year-old episode.
Yeah.
I think that actually blindsided a lot of people. And you could say maybe they need to read the
But
blurb
they never said
of
it was
the website.
old. They said it was a favorite.
Yes,
And they
and-
said it was presented by.
And all the American shows, again, as far as I know, got a brand new episode.
Yeah. I felt like there could have been more love with the crowd. There could have been more interaction. There could have been a bit more thanks to appreciation. I think people would have eaten that up.
Yeah. But suffice to say, £65, too much money.
Yeah.
I believe Emily's going to go see Megan Thee Stallion in London in the summer, and that doesn't cost.
No,
That
it's
costs
only
less.
£55 for Megan Thee Stallion.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And so I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. Like, I still love the Ghoul Boys. I do not think the watchatv.com $6 a month gaff was enough for me to write them off entirely. I still like them. I'm still gonna watch their stuff.
They are incredibly charismatic.
I'm not gonna pay for it.
They're very friendly. It was lovely to see them in real life. It wasn't £130 worth in total. And I wish they hadn't wasted as much of my time as they did. If you came to the show, let us know what you thought.
Yeah, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think we're being too harsh?
Yeah.
I think a few people are gonna think we're being too harsh.
I mean, fair. You weren't there. You've got no idea, mate. You've got no clue. No. You know what? I hope that you can understand this is coming from a place of appreciation. You know, I really like them. I think that we're all talking about the mood at Watcher right now because, frankly, they did put their foot in it. I'm interested in seeing how things go from here. I want to see Watchers continue doing really well. They are great. They are so creative.
Yeah.
They're so much fun.
Love Ryan. Love Shane. Steven.
Toxic. Subscribe.
Yeah. And then and then share it with your friends.
Let us know what you think. Would you have been disappointed? Would you have been happy? Are you furious at us and about to go mental? Are we the biggest haters in the world?
Probably.
Or do you completely agree and think, damn, we're in Cosy Lives, babes. I've got to make my money stretch. Hopefully catch you in the next video. Or at least in the watch comments.
All right, guys. Peace out.
See you soon.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.